Hello everyone, welcome to PMIS and this is lecture number 6 and part of January current affairs for 2024 yearly current affairs. Okay, this is a monthly magazine of January 2023. So here we will discuss from security point of view. Okay, so first news is under the police reforms. Why was it? Why was this in news? The 57th All India Conference of Director Generals or Inspector Generals of Police of all the states and union territories was held in Delhi. This conference was organized by the Intelligence Bureau and headed by the Director General of Intelligence Bureau. The conference focused on policing and national security issues and policing responsibilities in India. So here these are the act under these policing reforms, okay, such as Police Act 1861, and in the federal structure of the country, police and public order are state subjects under the 7th schedule of the Constitution, and state police forces are primarily in charge of issues such as crime prevention and investigation and maintaining law and order, while they also provide fast response in case of more intense internal security challenges. For example, terrorist incident or insurgency related violence. Policing issues in India. What are issues in these policing reforms in the police forces? Here we will understand that need for effective policing reforms. Before this, what are the various issues related to policing reforms? Human resource problem, overburdened forces, because status of policing in India report 2029, police in India work at 77% of their sanctioned strength and for 14 hours a day on an average. Absence of incentives to perform. About 86% of the state police comprises of constabulary, and lack of promotion prospects weaken their incentive to perform. And gender inequality. Women are underrepresented in the police force, constituting only 10.3% of police force. And physical infrastructure. Mainly, the infrastructure is mostly lacking at the level of police stations, because the infrastructure in the police stations in the several police stations have been found with no wireless, no telephone, no vehicles. Okay, so these are the infrastructure which are crucial for the police stations. And according to CAG audits and Bureau of Police Research and Development, shortages in weaponry and lack of modern weaponry with state police forces. Okay, and technology. Indian police forces have not kept pace with changes in technologies like forensics, fingerprinting, facial recognition, the crimes and criminal tracking. Networks and systems is facing implementation issues like limited usage, etc., and insufficient financial allocation. Expenditure on police accounts for about 3% state government budgets. So you can remember this 3% state government budgets, and funds dedicated for infrastructure modernization are typically not utilized fully. And this was around 48% till 17. Police public relations. Police requires the confidence, cooperation, and support of the community to prevent crime and disorder. According to second ARC report, police public relations is in unsatisfactory state because public and police relations are very unstable and vulnerable, and the public are more threatened by the police in terms of their crimes and criminals. Their crimes and criminals behavior against the public. Need for effective policy reforms. Increasing complexity of crimes with the increase in technology enabled crimes, and public has no corresponding obligation to help the police. Required to help to other departments such as income tax raids, demolitions by municipal authorities, etc. And police is first responder in event of crime or any law and order situation, and holding police accountable to any crimes and criminals. Okay, so these are the some reforms which can be implemented in the state at the state level. And the police reform committee and commissions are given here. You can read thoroughly, but these are only important for value addition. Okay, so you can write in brief, such as National Police Commission 1978-82, and Ribero Committee 1998, Padmana Bhaiya Committee on Police Reform 2000, and Malimat Committee on Reforms in Criminal Justice System 2003. So this is a very important, because this committee was telling about the criminal justice systems in police reforms. And Moon Sahai Committee Report 2004, Model Police Act 2006, and Second Administrative Reforms Commission. So these are the some reform committees and commissions which you need to understand these committee and commissions, and policing reforms that can be implemented, such as deliberations in a right direction, agenda of GDP conferences and other conferences which delve into policing reforms need to shift towards addressing foundational problems. PM recently proposed recreating the disease or IGPs. Okay, and disease Director Generals and IGSP, Inspector General of Police conference model at the state or district levels for discussing new concerns and evolving best practices among their teams. Smart Police. The Prime Minister at 49th DGP conference in 2014 enunciated the concept of smart police. Okay, and building a positive image. Immunity policing model can be utilized for building a strong police public relations and resolving local conflicts. Community policing models such as Mohalla Committee in Maharashtra, Jan Maitri in Kerala have produced good results. Optimization of police personnel with technology integration, increasing sensitivity of police officers and training them in emerging technologies. Initiatives like National Data Government Framework can facilitate data flow among agencies, because it is very needed to challenge any crimes and criminals in the country. Filling legal loopholes, repealing obsolete criminal laws, and building standards for police organizations across states would optimize utilization of policing energies. Okay, and cooperative policing setup, increased cooperation between state police and federal authorities will facilitate optimal utilization of capabilities and sharing of best practices. And these are the police reforms directed by the Supreme Court in Prakash Singh versus Union of India 2006. Under this, the Supreme Court guidelines under this case establish a state security commission for eliminating political of governmental interference from the police, and appointment of Director General of Police on merit basis, minimum tenure of 2 years for DGP, and minimum term for police officers including superintendents of police should be 2 years, and establishing a police establishment board to decide the transfers, postings, promotions, salaries of officers, and setting up National Security Commission for replacement and selection of chiefs of central police organizations, and minimum term for the National Security Commission would be 2 years. So minimum tenure of DGP should be 2 years, and minimum tenure for the National Security Commission would be 2 years, so both are same. Constitution Police Complaints Authority for looking into the siege of complaints against police officers and differentiating law and order with investigation by constituting a separate security commission. So these are the some Supreme Court guidelines under the Prakash Singh versus Union of India 2006. Okay. Next news is the military applications of drones, because recently central government banned import of drones in the country except the important and necessary areas of requirement of drones. Here Indian Armed Forces have floated the idea for integrating unmanned aerial vehicles or drones in its combat systems. Okay, so this is the important area of drone systems in Indian military systems. Drone systems in Indian military, such as swarm drones. These are the drones or unmanned aerial vehicles. Okay, so you can remember these are the drone systems. Swarm drones, which refers to several unmanned aerial vehicles operating in coordination. These are useful in combat operations for surveillance inputs and undertaking close reconnaissance. Switch vertical takeoff and landing unmanned aerial vehicles. These drones useful in remote areas and difficult terrains. Okay, so this is the example of this switch VTOL drone. Army in 2021, Army signed a contract with Mumbai-based Idea Force for these drones. Okay, so these are the agreement to purchase of these drones. Indigenous drones, DRDO Lakshya and DRDO Nishant. So you can remember this for prelims perspective, such as when asked the questions about Lakshya and Nishant. So what are these two terms related to? So these are the drones which are developed by DRDO. Okay, and DRDO Tapas unmanned aerial vehicles Rustam second. This is also a drone system, India's tactical advanced platform for aerial surveillance. This is Tapas, minimum altitude, long endurance, male unmanned aerial vehicle in user trial stage, and imported drones in India, Israel's Searchers and Heron unmanned aerial vehicle. So this is the previous year questions, that Heron was seen in news related to this term. So this is Heron, which is a unmanned aerial vehicle, that is drone. They are capable of all weather surveillance. Some variants of Heron can be armed when needed. Predator armed drones and MQ-9B Sea Guardian drones. India and USA are moving closer to sign deal for these two drones. So you can remember this, okay? And these are the applications of drones, such as shipping and delivery, geographic mapping, disaster management, precision agriculture, search and rescue, weather forecast, wildlife monitoring, law enforcement, entertainment, aerial photography. So these are so many applications for using drones in various areas. And these are the terms related to drone technology. The concept of drones originally came from military purposes. In 1849, Austria attacked Venice using unmanned balloons stuffed with explosives. First pilotless aircraft was developed in 1916 by UK during World War I, and India first used military drones during the 1999 Kargil War against Pakistan for photo reconnaissance along the line of control. So remember this. Defense systems against drones. Naval anti-drone system. These are the defense systems against drones which can be crashed by these defense systems, such as naval anti-drone system. Okay, so this is the first indigenously developed comprehensive anti-drone system developed by DRDO, and DRDO's D4 drone system. So you can remember only the terms related to these defense system which can destroy these drones. Okay, naval anti-drone system, DRDO's D4 drone system, Indrajal, Israel smash 2000 plus system. So these are the some defense systems. A need for autonomous drones by Indian armed forces, that is border surveillance, regional security. Okay, for in border surveillance, such as cross border incursions or cross border terrorism, and these drones can be very effective in difficult to monitor areas, for example mountainous regions or difficult terrains. And regional security, such as in navigational systems or navigating the turbulent security situation in Indian Ocean littoral zones. And technologically supremacy in warfare, greater war-fighting abilities of autonomous platforms powered by artificial intelligence, and use of disruptive technologies of 4th industrial revolution. Okay, and reconnaissance and tactical support. Drones provide accurate and real-time intelligence about enemy positions and movements, helping make informed decisions during complex operations such as surgical strikes. And issues with deployment of autonomous drones in warfare. Dehumanizing warfare. These are the issues, such as dehumanizing warfare, a system of targeting human beings based on machine learned experiences is problematic. The computer neither has access to all relevant data to make an informed decision, nor it recognizes the need for more information to come up with an optimal solution. An absence of accountability. If autonomous drones erroneously used force in a threat of theater of conflict, there is no one to be held accountable, as blame can't be pinned on a machine. Risk of shared ability between network drone systems, and these particularly when weapon algorithms, satellite and link systems that enable combat solutions are not under the control of the user, and data biases because data can be thieved by these drones. Okay, artificial intelligence is characterized by a predisposition to certain kinds of data, and that can be steal by the technological experts and detachment from ground realities. These drones that can be used to make warfare more deadly as a remote user is aloof from ground realities, putting both military personnel and civilians at risk. And doctrinal paradox. No easy way of incorporating artificial intelligence fueled drones into military doctrine, particularly when effectiveness of such technology in combat is not established. Military doctrine is premised on rules, codes, and ethical standards which are required for establishing the necessity of using force in war and the proportionality of that force deployment and limitation in uses of current drone capabilities. Okay, so these are the some challenges or issues involved in drone technology or drone creation, the drone regulation or drone use in military forces, and drone regulations in India. Drone rules 2021. Under this, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation release released the guideline for use of civil drones and places restrictions on operating drones in certain areas such as in red zone, and provides for registration and licensing of drones and training of operators, and it follows the principle of no permission no takeoff, and permission is required before every operation of a drone, and digital sky platforms. Under this regulation, online platform hosted by Directorate General of Civil Aviation for drone management, and this regulation includes interactive airspace map with making of red, yellow and green zones, and platform deals with drone fight planes and drone fight plans and permissions to fly, and national counter rogue drone guidelines. Under these guidelines, rules about setting up air traffic police and use of drones in emergency situations, okay, and means of detection, interruption and destruction of rogue drones, and regulations on drone market. In 2022, in the previous year, the government banned the import of drones, which was initially uh, I was telling you, okay, except for research and development, defense and security purposes. However, drone components can be imported, and government approved a production linked incentive scheme for drones and their components for making India a drone hub. And what are the way forward? Incremental approach. Indian armed forces are on their evolutionary curve and should follow an incremental approach in integrating autonomous drones in combat systems and fill the gap in critical technologies. While technology absorption in the armed forces has matured, there is a need to fill the large gap that still exists in the development of critical technologies. Such gaps can be identified in system engineering, airborne and underwater sensors, weapon systems, and high tech components. Fulfillment of legal requirements. These unmanned aerial vehicles should be deployed by the military in ways that are consistent with national and international law, such as in international border Okay, an accountability mechanism. An accountability mechanism at global level needs to be put in place for use of autonomous systems in conflict areas, because we cannot understand the machine to what they do, for which purposes. Okay, and they have non-conscious mind that can be used, that cannot be used for uh, on purposes. Okay, and addressing data biases. Data biases can be reduced and machine learning experiences can be made more human by identifying biases, conducting human evaluations, and having a diverse collection of data sets. And next news is the Wassenaar arrangement. Under this, at the 26th annual plenary of the Wassenaar arrangement, India assumed the chairmanship of this Wassenaar arrangement for 1 year. About the Wassenaar arrangement, it is a multilateral export control regime which aims to promote regional and international security and stability by controlling the export of conventional weapons and dual-use goods and technologies. Wassenaar arrangement members agree to exchange information on sensitive dual-use goods and technologies and report on such transfers and denials of controlled items to non-participants. It was formally established in 1996 and it has 42 members. Except for China, all the other permanent members of the United Nations Security Council are signatories of Wassenaar Arrangement. Wassenaar Arrangement operates on a voluntary basis and decisions are made by consensus. So this is not a binding approach related to the Wassenaar Arrangement to any country. And this Wassenaar Arrangement plenary is the decision making body of the arrangement which operates based on consensus. India and the Wassenaar Arrangement. India joined the Wassenaar as its 42nd participating state in 2017. And significance of membership of Wassenaar Arrangement for India, such as Wassenaar Arrangement will facilitate high technology tie-ups with the Indian industry and ease access to high-tech items for India's defense and space programs. India is recognized as a responsible exporter of dual-use goods and technologies, and recognition boost India's defense industry and contribute to its development as a strategic player in the region. Okay, and this is multilateral export control regime under the nuclear supplier groups, missile technology control regime, Australia group. India is a member of all three multilateral export control regimes except the nuclear suppliers group. Okay, because the China vetoed the Indian membership about the national supplier groups. It aims to prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons by controlling the export of nuclear materials and technologies. It has 48 members. India is a not member. Okay, and MTCR aims to limit the spread of ballistic missiles. So here under nuclear supplier groups, prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons, and under MTCR to limit the spread of ballistic missiles and other unmanned delivery systems that could be used for chemical, biological and nuclear attacks, and it has 35 members. India is a member. And Australia group, the aim of Australia group is to prevent the spread of chemical and biological weapons. So all three areas can be tackled through these groups. Okay, for proliferation or to prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons under nuclear supplier groups, and MTCR for spread to limit the spread of ballistic missiles and other unmanned delivery systems, and under Australia group to prevent the spread of chemical and biological weapons by controlling the export of related materials and technologies. India it has 43 members including India. So remember this Indian Wassenaar arrangement. Okay, so this is the news related to the Wassenaar arrangement. Okay, and these are short news that we will discuss during the preliminary discussion when we'll discuss these news. Okay, for prelims perspective. So next is the environment. Okay, environment section, and this environment section we will understand the concept and topics related to environment in the static part. Here we will discuss for the current affairs which are in news. Okay, so first is the ozone hole recovery. A new United Nations backed ozone recovery assessment report 2022 has stated that the ozone layer is on track to recover within decades as harmful chemicals are phased out. The report highlights that ozone depleting substances levels in 2022 are back to those observed in 1980 before ozone depletion was significant. Okay, this slow but steady progress over the past 3 decades was achieved by Montreal Protocol. So Montreal Protocol said that the prevention of or protection of ozone hole, protection of ozone in the Antarctic from ozone hole depletions. Okay, so this is a good news for the climate change or global warming happening in the world. The pace of reduction in ozone depletion substances over Antarctica, which experiences a large ozone hole in spring, has been slower. And about ozone hole, highly reactive molecule formed of 3 oxygen atoms, that is O3, and found primarily in 2 regions of the atmosphere, such as in upper atmosphere and ground level. Ozone found in upper atmosphere such as in stratosphere. Okay, stratosphere and at the surface level, and this stratosphere ozone is very helpful for the life of people on the planet. And ground surface or ground ozone is very harmful for the breathing of lungs. Okay, and this ground level ozone found in tropographical ozone, that is bad and it is a bad ozone. What is ozone depletion? First discovered in 1980s. 15 most abundant long-lived chlorine and bromine containing chemicals. These are bromine and chlorine, which depletes the ozone layer, and these chlorine and bromine breaks the molecules of O3. Okay, and these molecules can break into 2 parts, such as nascent oxygen and oxygen molecules. This nascent oxygen breaks, and this nascent oxygen breaks and include into chlorine or bromine. Okay, so this could form chlorine oxide, that is ClO or Cl2O. Okay, so because chlorine has one charge and oxygen has two charge. Okay, yes, -2 charge, and chlorine has, yes, oxygen has +2 charge and chlorine has -1 charge. So this is a two atoms here and oxygen has one atom here. So chlorine, that is Cl2O, and this can further breaks into this, and this oxygen depletes and add into the oxygen through the sunlight. Okay, so these are the process and cycles of this ozone hole. It happens with the formation of polar stratospheric clouds. Okay, so this is the like example, this is a Antarctica, and about this, over this, these are stratospheric clouds gathering here. Okay, and these because near Antarctica, the place of Antarctica where these stratospheric clouds are very close to the continent of Antarctica, and this can be taken oxygen near the ground. Okay, and the polar stratospheric clouds are formed only at a high altitude. Clouds at very low temperatures help destroy ozone in two ways. First way is they provide a surface which converts begin forms of chlorine into reactive ozone destroying forms, and they remove nitrogen compounds that moderate the destructive impact of chlorine. Okay, and increased concentration of ozone depleting substances leading to ozone depletion, and it occurs due to polar Arctic vortex, and first noticed in 2011 Arctic hole, and occurs during spring. Arctic vortex prevents cold air from escaping the region. This keeps the concentration of ozone depleting substances high in the region, so you can remember this. Okay, and this is the cause and effect of ozone layer depletion. Okay, so pause the video and read one times of this cause and effect of ozone layer depletion. And this is the Antarctica or Antarctic hole. Okay, it develops in August and dissipates in late November. First, these are the factual information, so you can remember. Okay, and ozone recovery assessment report 2022 report were released by combined efforts of WMO, UNEP, NOAA, NASA and European Commission, and these reports highlighted the some points, that is the atmospheric abundances of both total tropospheric chlorine and total tropospheric bromine from long-lived ozone depletion substances have continued to decline since 2018 assessment. The study suggests that decline in ozone depletion substances emissions due to compliance with the Montreal Protocol avoids global warming of approximately 0.5 to 1 degree Celsius by mid-century, that is 2050. The study expected that the thickness of ozone layer to return to 1980 values around 2066 in the Antarctic, around 2045 in the Arctic region. Okay, and the key challenges highlighted by the reports, highlighted by this report: lack of proper assessment, because the gap in observation and monitoring networks for compounds like chlorofluorocarbon 11 and CFC 12 have made it difficult to take action against unreported emissions. Unexplained emissions have been identified for other ozone depletion substances such as CFC 13. These are the example of ODS which are difficult to understand as well as monitor. And disparity in ozone recovery. While ozone in upper stratosphere is recovering properly, but same is not the case with middle and lower stratospheric zones in both the hemispheres. Okay, and this is the agreement under Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol in 2016. Okay, so this is the history of ozone depletion. These are countries involved in the ozone depletion substances protection. Gaps in regional atmospheric monitoring. Existing network of atmospheric monitoring stations provide measurements of global surface concentrations of long-lived ODS and HFCs resulting from anthropogenic emissions, making it difficult to assess regional gaps. Geoengineering techniques. The impact on the ozone layer of stratospheric aerosol injection has hinted towards deepening of the Antarctic ozone hole and delay in ozone recovery. Steps taken to heal ozone hole. These are the some steps which can prevent the ozone hole. Under Vienna Convention of 1985 and Montreal Protocol 1987, this Montreal Protocol was amended by Kigali Agreement, and Kigali Agreement was amended by this in 2016. The initiatives aims to repair the ozone layer through worldwide reduction and ultimately elimination of ozone depleting substances. Okay, and target was 98% between 1986 and 2016. Reduction of this ozone hole depletion. And ozone fund 1990 was created. The ozone fund was established in 1990 to support developing countries in their efforts to phase out the use of ozone depleting substances. And Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol was created in 1987 and this was amended by Kigali Agreement. Okay, and this Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol 2016 and aims of this for the phase down of hydrofluorocarbons by cutting their production and consumption. So you can remember this, the hydrofluorocarbon was reduced or phased down from this Kigali Agreement, okay, or Kigali Amendment, given their zero impact on the depletion of the ozone layer. Hydrofluorocarbons are currently used as replacements of hydrochlorofluorocarbons and chlorofluorocarbons. However, they are powerful greenhouse gases, but they were phased out under this Kigali Amendment. With the Kigali Amendment, the Montreal Protocol will be an even more powerful instrument against global warming. And other solutions or key recommendations from this report: the elimination of emission of methyl bromide, which is currently allowed under certain conditions, can advance the achievement of 1980 level of chlorine compound by 2 years in middle latitudes. A 3% reduction In anthropogenic N2O emission, that is nitrogen dioxide emissions, averaged over 2023 to 2070 would lead to an increase in annually averaged global total column ozone. So 3% reduction in atmospheric nitrogen dioxide reductions, emissions reductions. Okay, emissions of anthropogenic very short-lived chlorine substances dominated by dichloromethane continue to grow and contribute to ozone depletion. These needs to be phased out. Reductions in the future emissions of chlorofluorocarbons and hydrochlorofluorocarbons requires addressing proper assessment and monitoring of regional gaps. And conclude this, ozone depleting substances. Arresting ozone depletion is crucial to not only protect Earth's environment but also protect its biodiversity. The complex interconnection between ozone depletion and climate change needs to be studied and understood in a more scientific manner in order to design proactive and collective policy responses. And also it is very important need to change this perspective through the creation of fund by each and every country through its uh, determined the contribution fund by the country for the reduction of ozone depleting substances. Okay, and next is the cloud forest assets. What is a cloud forest? So why was in news recently? A new report, cloud forest assets financing a valuable nature based solution, was released by Earth Security. So remember this for prelims perspective. Earth Security released the report of cloud forest assets financing a valuable nature based solutions. Okay, and this Earth Security is a global nature based asset management advisory firm, and you need to know about this keyword, that is cloud forest. So what is cloud forest? So here, areas with forest cover greater than 10% and fog present greater than 70%. So forest cover should be greater than 10% and fog on these forests should be greater than 70%. So you can remember this comes under the cloud forest. Okay, and these cloud forests mostly found at between 1500 and 3000 above sea level, that is in mountainous regions such as the Himalayan mountains or northern hemisphere mountains such as Siberian mountains, and shorter trees covered in mosses and ferns, cooler and wetter than other forests. These cloud forests are cooler and wetter than other forests, and these forests blanketed in dense ground level clouds. So these are four properties of the cloud forest. Okay, and cloud forests are mountain tropical forests generally found at the river head streams and mostly covered with clouds. And these forests serve as the storage of clean water for communities, industries, and hydropower plants. Majority of cloud forests, that is 90%, are found in 25 developing countries in tropical regions, which bears the disproportionate impact of climate change. Okay, and about the cloud forest 25 initiative. What is this initiative all about? The CF25 is a step that the realization the economic growth must go hand in hand with environmental conservation. CF25 is an investment initiative to bring countries, their creators, and multilateral organizations together to accelerate and consolidate the progress and scale such investment products and financing mechanisms. This can be financed through these mechanisms such as water payments to create a mechanism for payments for ecosystem services from water users such as hydropower dams, which works on a national scale and is subject to compliance norms, and sovereign carbon. Next mechanism is sovereign carbon. Under this, the financing of forest carbon at sovereign and sub-sovereign jurisdictional scales as part of an approach to wider areas of lowland tropical rainforests. And for these, the report processes cloud forest bonds which can be issued through such collective mechanisms. Cloud forest bonds are debt-based instruments to mobilize finance for protection of cloud forest. Their value is based on the economic value of a country's cloud forest resources. Okay, and some challenges involved related to the cloud forest, such as potential to dilute with power of sovereign by putting conditions on usage of its own natural resources, and threat of forced displacement because many communities inhabited in the forest near forest areas which can be displaced from these cloud forests to the away from the forest resources. State-led conservation top-down model, monocausal assessment due to unidimensional assessment of a country's natural resources in economic terms. Okay, and threat of neocolonialism or imperialism by building corporate bureaucratic political nexus, such as one example is that for tribal uh, rehabilitation program was created in near Chhattisgarh and Orissa from Niamgiri hills. Okay, and Vedanta group tried to rehabilitate the tribals from these Niamgiri hills to extract more resources, natural resources. Okay, so this is the important example which can be used in the uh, mains answer writing. Okay, and what is nature based solutions released by this earth released by okay, one second, released by this earth security report. Okay, what is nature based solution or what are nature based solutions? Nature based solutions are actions to protect, sustainably manage or restore natural ecosystems. They address societal challenges such as climate change, human health, food and water security, and disaster risk reduction effectively and adaptively. These nature based solutions provide human well being and biodiversity benefits because these nature based solutions can be used by any way through the cloud forests. They leverage nature and the power of healthy ecosystems to protect people, optimize infrastructure, and safeguard a stable and biodiverse future. Okay, and nature based solutions case in point tackling climate change. So these are the some points that can nature based solutions would perform to tackling the climate change situations. Okay, and these are the nature based solutions such as restoration, issue specific, infrastructure management, protection, ecosystem based approaches. Okay, says you can see here societal challenges such as human well-being, biodiversity benefits. Okay, so you can remember this. Benefits of nature based solutions for mitigation, adaptation, and resilience. Under mitigation, the instance afforestation can help provide 37% mitigation needed by 2030 to achieve Paris climate targets, and adaptation, climate sensitive agriculture by cultivating drought resistant crops. And under resilience, the recent initiative MISTI, that is Mangrove Initiative for Shoreline Habitats and Tangible Incomes, helps build resilience against cyclones and tsunamis using mangroves along with providing income opportunities for coastal communities. Okay, and current financing of nature based solution such as IOCN grant mechanisms and UN grant mechanisms. As per UNEP, climate, biodiversity, and land degradation goods will be out of reach unless investments into nature based solutions quickly ramp up to US $384 billion per year by 2025. Other financing instruments such as Green Infrastructure Financing Facility under ASEAN Infrastructure Fund. So you can remember about the financing instrument of nature based solutions, and you can conclude of this nature based solution are cloud forests. Nature based solutions can be a great instrument for supporting low income countries to preserve their ecosystem while maintaining sustainable economic growth. It can help realize the principle of common but differentiated responsibility by enabling developed countries. What is this difference? Common but differentiated responsibilities for those who are created the emissions. Okay, and their private sector to finance climate change mitigation adaptation activities in low income countries. Okay, and next is the Wildlife Protection Amendment Act 2022. So this will discuss in the next class. Okay, so don't worry, we will end this monthly magazine under the I think 2 to 3 class more suitable for this, because very broad topics have to covered. Okay, thoroughly for UPSC 2024, because both prelims as well as mains are very important including this. Okay, so thank you for watching. Have a great day.